Welcome. NOAA has just released its July of 2024 climate update, and this video is a summary of that report. The update shows that July of 2024 was the hottest July on record. That's the 14th straight month in a row that we've been setting new records, and that in and of itself is a record. Well, let's make a quick summary of what we're going to talk about today. First of all, we're going to obviously talk about global temperatures and what's been happening to them in the last month and comparing with previous numbers. We also have an update on the El Nino-La Nina transition that's going on at the moment. We're going to cover sea ice and snow coverage across the planet. Also look obviously at the report on carbon dioxide levels in our atmosphere and how they've been changing. And then I'll draw some conclusions from all of this, and the conclusions are not good. As I said, 14 months of record heat. You can see on the right here the July of 2024 just past July of 2023 is about 1.3 degrees centigrade above the long-term average. This is over a 175-year period. But remember, 1850 was the end of the Little Ice Age, when temperatures returned to typical levels. So that would take us back another 500 years to this record before we had a chance of having temperatures like this shown again. Currently are warmer than the medieval warm period and the Roman warm period. And the question is whether we're going to surpass the Holocene maximum, which occurred about 7,000 years ago. Well, we've had 14 months of record heat, but the land is warming faster than the oceans. So here's the land temperatures. You can see over here that the land temperatures are now about 1.7 degrees centigrade above the long-term average. And remember, it's the land where we live, and that's the more important number. But the oceans are warming too, although this month was the second warmest July on record, not the warmest. So there may be a little bit of relief in sight. And that's probably because we're transitioning from an El Nino to a La Nina. At the moment we are in ENSO neutral conditions, but very shortly we'll be in a La Nina, and these ocean temperatures will drop significantly, I suspect. As I've said, El Nino has gone and La Nina is coming. We're in ENSO neutral conditions at the moment. This is what an El Nino looks like, with warm water off the west coast of South America. But when that happens, global temperatures of course go up because the Pacific Ocean is such a large ocean, and that affects global temperatures considerably. But this is what we're going to, where there's a large slug of cold water off the South American coast and the warm water moves towards Australia. So ocean temperatures will drop somewhat, and the question is whether this will overtake the warming effect of the greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. I suspect that it will have very little effect at all. If the planet is warming, as we say it is, we should be losing snow cover and ice cover. And in fact, that is the case. This is the Northern Hemisphere snow cover, and you can see it's had a steady downtrend of about 0.65 million square kilometers per decade for the last 50 years. And so that is a concerning statistic. And it shows no sign of this slowing down at all. Sea ice shows a similar trend. This is combined north and southern hemispheres. As you can see, this last July was the second lowest coverage of sea ice globally on record, just beating out 2023. And the problem is the greenhouse gases are continuing to increase. This is the plot of the carbon dioxide levels in our atmosphere, the so-called Keeling curve. You can see there's been a drop recently, but that of course happens every year at this time. But when you compare it to the same time last year, we've had an increase of 3.72 parts per million year over year. And that's much larger, nearly a factor of 2 larger than we've been experiencing in the last few years. So that in and of itself is worrying. So let's jump to some conclusions. Global temperatures are continuing to rise. It is unclear whether if the transition to La Nina will help very much. I suspect not. It's already warmer than the medieval warm period and the Roman warm period, but will we exceed the Holocene maximum? I suspect we will get very close if we don't actually do that. And if that happens, then we'll have to go back another 110,000 years to find equivalently warm periods. The land is warming faster than the global average, as you'd expect. We're losing snow cover and sea ice, and also from glaciers. Basically, the conclusion is we're not yet controlling our greenhouse gases emission enough to start affecting the climate. So thank you for listening. Stay safe until next time. Goodbye.